Hi guys, and welcome to our 30 days makeup series. And on today's edition, I'll be talking about how to prep your dry to combination skin type and how to layer your skin products as well and create that flawless base for that flawless look. So to start off with this makeup look, we'll have to start with grooming the brows. So you remove the excesses at the under of the brows and at the bottom in order to give the face that frame that you desire. Afterwards, you move into cleansing the skin. So to cleanse your skin, you need a micellar water and cotton pads. My best ever brand for micellar water is definitely Garnier. So you cleanse the skin gently in order to ensure that the skin is properly cleaned of all impurities, ensuring that you have a really clean canvas to start. If you skip this process, the client might end up having a itchy skin after some hours of wearing the makeup that you put on her. So it's always best you ensure that the canvas is clean before you begin to layer your product. So after cleaning the skin, you ensure that you use an hydrating mist to spray all over the face in order to add hydration into the skin, because obviously the skin will now be completely dry. So you're bringing back life to the skin. Afterwards, remember it's a dry skin, so we need lots of hydration. So we'll go in with a niacinamide serum in order to ensure that the face is really hydrated. We need lots of hydration for this makeup look. So you can also use your hands to apply these products, but I always prefer using brushes because I don't know the kind of irritation some persons their skin has. Do you understand? So if it's your personal face, if it's your personal makeup, you can use your hands. But if you don't want to use your hand, flat tipped end brush is also cool. So the other product you see me applying on my tray was a moisturizer. You moisturize the skin as well before you go into moisturizing the lip, in order to add moisture as well to the lip. The skin we're talking about is a dry skin, so we're using a silicone matte primer. This primer is not a strong mattifying primer that dries out the face. Mind you, we're picking this particular type of primer because we're dealing with a dry skin, so we're using a silicone soft mattifying primer so that we'll achieve that soft finish at the end of it. So my choices of foundation were from L'Oreal, and my choices of foundation was from L'Oreal and I think Maybelline. Yes, I mixed those two foundations in order to I mixed L'Oreal and Maybelline foundation to achieve a flawless foundation finish, mainly because they are not so dry. They are very lightweight and they are really buildable. You can continue building your layers to ensure full coverage if you desire. So if you watch this video, you observe that her face is slightly darker than her body the way I blended the foundation. Like the foundation I applied is slightly darker, but there's a reason for it. We're going to balance it out at the end of the day. So after ensuring that your foundation is fully blended into the client's skin, you go in with your blusher. So for blush, you can use any shade of choice. So for me, I particularly picked this orange shade because that is what I preferred for this client's undertone. So when I pick my blush, I always consider the undertone that the person has. So I use a blush that would sort of like marry in with what is on the client's skin, like what the client's undertone entails. So after blushing out up with, after applying orange blush on our cheeks, I ensured that I fully blended it in. You keep blending on this particular journey. Blending is the key. You ensure that you see the particular point where I'm applying the blush. Please, that is where you want to apply blush. This particular, the close to the cheekbone, that's where you apply blush. And you keep applying, you blend and blend to ensure that it marries very well. And after the blush application, you go in with an highlighting concealer. Mind you, this makeup, I won't really be contouring her. I won't be doing so much when it comes to bronzing because the foundation already is slightly darker than her actual complexion. So I just went straight into highlighting her face, and we're highlighting the T-zone areas of her face, the chin, under of her nose bridge, and then under her eyes and her forehead. So you see me use a concealer that is light. It is looking light, but it is within her undertone. It is in line with the undertone that she has, but it's like 2 to 3 shades lighter than our actual shade, but it's in line with our undertone. That's the most important thing that you should note. And then I applied it all around the areas where I wanted it, and then I used a beauty blender after application to begin to blend. Mind you, when I'm applying it, I didn't just drop the product. While I'm applying it too, I'm literally trying to like press in the product into our skin before going in with a beauty blender, in order to ensure that I blend in the line where the blush and the highlight meet, and then blend in the other parts into our skin and ensure that there's a smooth sync before I go to the next part. So any area you're blending, you have to be focused and blend that area into our skin. And while blending, please take note of the placement techniques. We do not want to outblend and then cross the areas where we're not supposed to highlight. So you have to be very conscious of the areas where we were placing highlights and the areas where we were to place contours, and ensure that we're blending in line with that placement technique that we've placed earlier. Do you understand? So we're not blending outside that area. We're just ensuring that the places where those highlights, contours, skin colors and other colors would meet, we're just ensuring that there's a sync there. That's the essence. So after achieving a beautiful blend of highlights and then blush here, and then we've obviously applied the foundation. So we'll go in to set the highlighted regions of our face using a setting powder. This is a setting powder from Merac. So I would apply this setting powder with a powder puff, but before going in with a powder puff, I took my beauty blender again to buff out the eyes in order to ensure that there are no cracks before I picked back my powder puff to apply the setting powder. Mind you, when I picked product with my powder puff, I smudged it off my hands in order to ensure that I'm not shocking the cream product with so much powder. I'm literally just drying the cream product there. I'm not packing product. I'm not baking. I'm literally just setting the under eyes first. And I'm doing this with very, very minimal quantity of powder. I pick powder, I buff it at the back of my hands before I go in to press it into the under eyes, in order to ensure that the under eyes are very smooth and matte at the same time, and it's in a beautiful sync. So whatever it is I did for this other eye, I obviously repeated the same thing for this other eye as well. So in order to ensure that your makeup does not look cakey, this is the best pattern you can use to set your under eyes in order for it to look as natural as it can, and then at the same time still bright and beautiful. So after we finished setting, we went into doing other things like setting the other areas of the face that had highlights. And then at this point, I was obviously laying another layer of setting powder in order to bake the face. So when I do all of my eye products, there's going to be some product there so that I can just brush it out and then they will fall off easily. Mind you, I did not do cream contour and cream bronzing, so I'm going to do that with dry products. So I'm still literally just setting every area of the face that needs to be set, that I initially applied highlight. And to sculpt our face, I use this palette from White Glam Beauty in order to give our face that sculpt that I needed. Now, you can either bronze or you can choose to contour, whichever one that works for you. It's perfect. Now for me, I wanted our face to have a certain level of warmth, so that was why I went in with a bronzer instead of a contour. So whichever one you prefer, it's fine. Now the difference between contour and bronzing is the fact that contour has more of a darker neutral shade, and then bronzing has more of a warmth neutral shade. Warmth in the sense that the deep colors have a way of looking a bit reddish. If you look very well into the color shade very well, it has like reddish hues that gives you this warmth feel. So I wanted that warmth feel. So instead of going for a very neutral deep powder, I chose to bronze and give the face that warmth that I desire. So that was why I used the White Glam bronzing palette to sculpt our nose, and I used the same thing to sculpt our entire face as well, to give our face that warmth. and snatch that nose, giving that nose that cinch that we want. Afterwards, I went in with a compact powder to literally just set the entire face and ensure that the face and the body has a sync, and then also ensure that the bronzer, the blush, the highlight, everything has a sync, because at this point the face is still looking very well partitioned. We want the partitions, yes, but we want it to have a sync. There should be a sync of how we want our product layered, and that is what we're trying to achieve. So I kept applying the powder until I have the coverage that I desire. You can see the difference between the parts that I have applied powder on and the parts that I obviously have not applied. And then we come to apply powder on this other part. You can see that bronzer and then the blush line and how products are being properly layered. We've come to the end of today's video. In order to watch how I created the rest of the makeup, please stay tuned to this channel by subscribing to our channel and hitting the post notification bell, so immediately we post our next makeup tutorial on completing this makeup look, you would be notified. Thank you for subscribing.